In this video, we'll look at socket healing after a tooth extraction and explain why it forms the biological foundation for successful implant placement. Osseointegration, which we'll cover in a follow-up video, is really just a modified version of bone healing. The same biological principles but happening around an implant instead of a natural tooth socket. After a tooth is removed, the space left behind is what we call an extraction socket. From the moment the tooth comes out, the body starts a carefully coordinated healing process, aiming to replace that empty socket with new bone and soft tissue. This process is known as the socket healing. Typically, it takes about 6 months for the socket to be filled with new bone. But bone healing doesn't stop there. Bone modeling and remodeling continue for up to a year, gradually maturing and reorganizing the bone. It's important to note that socket healing isn't identical in every patient. It can be influenced by local factors, systemic conditions, surgical technique, and even environmental factors. Healing, even when it is successful, some bone loss always occurs. The width and height of the alveolar ridge typically reduce, especially on the labial or buccal side, changing the size and contour of the ridge over time. This is clinically important when planning future implants or any prosthetic rehabilitation. Socket healing occurs in 4 main stages of hemostasis and coagulation, inflammation, proliferative stage, and modeling and remodeling stage. These stages often overlap, and while the first 3 happen relatively quickly, the final stage of modeling and remodeling can continue for months or even years. So let's dive deeper into each stage and see what happens at the cellular level. Immediately after tooth extraction, blood fills the socket from the severed blood vessels, and a clot forms as part of the normal coagulation process. This clot controls bleeding and sets the stage for healing. Normally, the endothelial lining of blood vessels keeps blood flowing smoothly by producing anticoagulant signals. But when the vessel is injured, subendothelial collagen and tissue signals are exposed. This activates the platelets. Activated platelets change shape, stick to the exposed collagen and to each other, forming the first layer of the cloth known as the platelet plug. They also release granules filled with growth factors and cytokines, including vascular endothelial growth factor, platelet-derived growth factor, and transforming growth factor beta. These molecules are important signals that call in the next set of healing cells in the next phase. Meanwhile, red blood cells become trapped in the forming fibrin network, stabilizing the clot. The fibrin mesh acts like a scaffold, holding the clot together and providing a structure for immune cells, fibroblasts, and progenitor cells to move in later. Sometimes clot formation can be delayed or disrupted. Medications like aspirin, excessive surgical trauma, infection, or premature clot loss can all interfere, increasing the risk of alveolar osteitis or dry socket, which is a painful condition where healing is delayed. If you're interested to know more about dry socket, I have a detailed video already published on my channel about it. So in summary, this first stage of hemostasis and coagulation is dominated by platelets forming and stabilizing the clot, endothelial cells coordinating coagulation and releasing signals, and blood cells trapped in the fibrin network, creating the perfect environment for the next stage of healing. The inflammatory stage starts 48 to 72 hours after tooth extraction. During this phase, the socket is cleaned by immune cells and early granulation tissue begins to form within the socket. The main goal of this phase is to clean the socket and prepare it for repair. Cytokines and growth factors released from platelets, endothelial cells, and damaged tissue triggered 3 key events. These are vasodilation that increases blood flow to the socket, increased vascular permeability which allows immune cells to exit blood vessels and enter the tissue, and recruitment of further immune cells to the wound site. The first cells to arrive are neutrophils, attracted mainly by interleukin-8. Neutrophils phagocytose debris, including necrotic tissue and clot remnants, hence cleaning the socket and lowering the risk of infection. The next cells are monocytes, which migrate in under the influence of monocyte chemoattractant protein 1. The monocytes differentiate into macrophages, which become the dominant cells in this phase. Macrophages release interleukin-1 and tumor necrosis factor alpha to amplify the inflammatory response by activating endothelial cells and recreating additional immune cells. They also secrete growth factors such as fibroblast growth factor, transforming growth factor alpha and beta, and epidermal growth factor, which activate fibroblasts and osteoblasts. Fibroblasts and osteoblasts originate from mesenchymal progenitor cells in the residual periodontal ligament, alveolar bone marrow, and periosteum. Growth factors guide these cells into the socket and prepare them for repair. So by the end of the inflammatory phase, the socket is cleared of debris, signaling molecules are in place, and progenitor cells are activated. Also, early granulation tissue begins to form, consisting of fibroblasts, inflammatory cells, and new blood vessels within a loose connective tissue framework. This lays the foundation for the proliferative phase, which begins around day 3 and lasts up to 3 weeks. During the proliferative phase, the granulation tissue is gradually replaced by a provisional matrix. New blood vessels grow and early woven bone begins to form. Healing in this phase occurs in two main steps. The first step is the formation of a provisional matrix and angiogenesis, which is formation of the new blood vessels. Mesenchymal progenitor cells migrate from the residual PDL, as we said, alveolar bone marrow, and periosteum into the socket. These cells differentiate into fibroblasts, which start laying down a collagen-rich connective tissue matrix, gradually replacing the granulation tissue formed during the inflammatory phase. At the same time, growth factors such as vascular endothelial growth factor stimulate nearby endothelial cells, causing them to sprout and grow into the matrix, hence forms a new vascular network that supplies nutrient and oxygen to the healing tissue. The second step is woven bone deposition. Osteoprogenitor cells migrate along the new blood vessels and differentiate into osteoblasts, which begin laying down woven bone. This early bone forms finger-like projections around the capillaries, further replacing the granulation tissue and establishing the first structural framework of the socket. So by around 6 to 8 weeks after extraction, woven bone has largely filled the socket. Although still mechanically weak, it sets the stage for the final modeling and remodeling phase, where the woven bone will mature into strong lamellar bone. During the modeling and remodeling phase, the temporary woven bone is gradually replaced by mature lamellar bone and the alveolar ridge is reshaped to restore strength and stability. Around 4 weeks after tooth extraction, osteoblasts start depositing lamellar bone in the deeper portion of the socket. They secrete osteoid, which then mineralizes into lamellar bone, forming a trabecular network around the newly formed blood vessels. Over the following week, this bone formation gradually progresses toward the coronal region of the socket. At the same time, osteoclasts resorb portions of the woven bone, particularly at the crest of the alveolar ridge. This resorption is the main reason why the ridge often becomes narrower and shorter after extraction. These two processes of modeling and remodeling occur together. Bone remodeling internally strengthens and organizes the bone, while bone modeling externally reshapes the ridge to its final dimensions. Inside the socket, osteoclasts also remove residual woven bone, creating space for osteoblasts to lay down new lamellar bone. By around 8 to 12 weeks, lamellar bone has largely replaced the woven bone, forming a strong, load-bearing internal framework while the ridge has been remodeled externally. And even after this period, modeling and remodeling continue slowly for several months or even years, refining the structure and strength of the bone. So to summarize, in the final stage of socket healing, the temporary woven bone formed earlier is gradually replaced by mature lamellar bone and bone marrow. At the same time, the alveolar ridge is reshaped through bone modeling, leading to the dimensional changes we see after tooth extraction. The coordinated activity of osteoblasts and osteoclasts results in strong, load-bearing bone within the socket, while the ridge externally adapts to functional demands. At the end of this phase, the socket is fully healed with strong lamellar bone and a remodeled alveolar ridge, which is ready to support functional forces or future implants. So to sum up this video, successful socket healing is the biological foundation for successful implant placement. Every stage that we discussed determines the quality and quantity of bone available for osseointegration. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please do like, subscribe, share, and comment if you have any questions. Thank you for watching.